Yo, what up, though? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Street Coder Nate, and on this channel, I'ma teach y'all the street code. Okay, so we already tapped into setting up the development environment and getting y'all files ready for structuring and whatnot. So today, what we're gonna type into is web architecture. Now, what do I even mean by web architecture? I mean, basically, how is the web even set up? See, they made this big complicated thing that's really not even that complicated, but a lot of people don't understand it. And so it's like, why would I teach you how to make a website if you don't even know how to access your website on the web? Plus, you don't even know what's going on the web. There's no way you can make a website and then all these things are going on in the background, and then you just somehow supposed to know what's going on. See, up in school, that's what they do to you. But here, I'm not about to do that to y'all because it's like y'all need to know every single piece that's going around so that y'all can keep up and keep track with it. So right now, today, what I'm about to teach y'all is web architecture. What is going on when you go to your browser, Google Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer. I don't know why you would use it, but some motherfuckers still use it. They need to throw that shit out. But anyway, apparently it's actually being deprecated after like 2020. I think it's gone now. In 2021, Microsoft stopped working on it. But anyway, Firefox, all of those different web browsers. So what is really going on in the background when you go there and you type in a website, let's say natebaker.me, shameless plug, but natebaker.me, we go there, what happens on the browser in the background and all these other things. So that's what I'm gonna teach you today. And so without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into it. All right, so here for the lesson today. So the web, remember, this is web architecture. That's what we're about to go over, web architecture. It is set up in a client-server model. Now, you can kind of think of a client-server model as going to a restaurant. Honestly, doing anything client-server. Whenever you're requesting something from someone or requesting something from another entity, another body, you're kind of like exercising that client server model. And what I mean by that is that you got this body over here that's the client, and it's going to send some type of request to the server over here. And so the server, let's say the server is let me go ahead and put this on do not disturb. All right, so let's say the server is at a restaurant. So this is a restaurant server. No, don't know how to spell all of that. Okay, so this is a restaurant server, right? And the restaurant server, what's the request we send? Let's say I need a glass of water, right? So the server goes and writes that down. Okay, I need a glass of water. She takes that back somewhere, gets the water, and then the server brings it back to the client. Now the client is happy. This is the response. So in the client server type of architecture, you got a client requesting data, requesting actions, requesting whatever from another entity being the server. The server is going to serve the client. Here we go. It's simple words like this. So when we take it back to the browser, like what do we mean by this in the browser? The browser or the web. When we take it back to the web, what do I mean by that? And so what is the client and what is the server inside of the web? Well, we have, let's take this box right here and let's call this the client. This box, I'm gonna describe it up a little bit more. I'm gonna give it a URL. Let's say google.com. And then it has let's say Google. And then you can search what you need to search right here, and then they got the little magnifying glass button, and then I'm feeling good or something. I'm feeling good. All right, cool. So that's Google. This is a web browser. So another word for a web browser is a client. A web browser is a client. And the reason that it's a client is because of this thing right here. Right here. This is going to help us send different requests. This is going to help us send our requests. So we say, give me google.com is like saying, give me a glass of water. So we are sending a request via this URL bar right here. We're sending a request via this URL bar, and then the request goes somewhere that we can't really see, right? We can see that we're sending a request, but we don't know where it exactly goes. So let's just create this box over here called a server. And so a server has, let's make it look like this. You can just imagine that it's just this huge box that has all these different slots. And let's say this is a file, file. Right. So this server is just a box with a whole bunch of just different files on it, right? And so somehow we connected to this box. We said google.com, and we ended up connecting to this box, right? And in this box, there happens to live a file called google.com, or a folder called google.com. And if we go past that folder, we get the index.html file, right? So we just requested, so in our browser over here, we requested google.com. Our browser ended up sends the request for google.com and to this box. We're gonna call this a box. Once again, this box is the server. So our client, our web browser, is sending a request to the server, right? And so the server goes and it checks this request. It gets access to this request. It says, okay, this is a request, and it knows where it's coming from. It says, let's say that this is the IP address is 12.0.1, home IP address, if you didn't know that. But let's say, so it knows where it's coming from. So this is the IP address. It said, okay, so this address just requested google.com from me. So what it's going to go do is it's going to look like, it's going to say, I see a natebaker.me/index.html as well. And then maybe it sees a yahoo.com/index.html, something like this. So your server, so this black box over here, it just has access. It has access to all these different websites, because we can store our websites on all these different servers. See, these huge companies around the world own these different servers. They call it the cloud. They call it the cloud. And so the cloud is kind of cool because you can create your website. Once again, I was teaching y'all before that a website is just an HTML file. So you create your website, you start typing that up, right? And then you go store that website on a server. You then get access, then people can, let's say natebaker.me into a browser, and now they can, the server will always serve them my natebaker.me file, right? So once they find google.com, the server does, it's some type of algorithm going on there. People write code for it, but they find what they're looking for. They send back the google.com/index .html. And so the index.html, that's basically just saying like this is the home page. Index.html, you'll see it a lot when we're programming. It is the home page. Now I'm about to do an example that you'll see, but mine says natebaker.html because I got fancy with mine. But typically index.html is what you will typically what you will get from a website when you're requesting the home page, right? And so we get that sent back to the client. Okay, it looked like it froze a little bit. Let me redo this. Yup. Yeah, it did freeze. So let me add my iPad right back. Going hard. I almost forgot. Didn't even notice that it froze. Thank God I took a pause real quick. Let me see. We got 9, 6, 8, 4. Okay, so then we should be good. All right. Well, until then, I think we back. Okay, cool, cool, cool. We back. But yeah, real quick, look how dope this is. I could really make myself big real quick, say what's up to y'all, continue explaining stuff, and then be like, you know what? I'm just finna disappear. Hey, that shit dope. But then it's like, hey, I'm back. And then I disappear, and then I'm back. Okay, okay, I'm going. All right, let me make myself smaller, and I'm back in the corner. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so yes, so we then sends back, or the server right here sends back google.com to our client, and then our client gets to load this beautiful page right there, right? This is pretty abstract. So I'm going to move myself right here. It's pretty abstract. So what we about to do is we about to tap in and see a quick example on my website, natebaker.me. We about to request natebaker.me from Google and see what actually is happening, that they're sending back the actual HTML file, and we can actually see that the contents in that HTML file. I'm gonna introduce y'all to something real quick. So let's hop into this next slide. Like I said, you would like to see this example, so I'm gonna give you this example real quick. Okay, so we hop into what is it called, Safari real quick, and what you see Safari is you got I got Google lined up right now. You can see google.com and all of that. So one of the things I want to teach y'all about is called the developer tools, and I ain't gonna go too deep into it because I'm gonna have a whole video on it. But if you right click inside of this file real quick, you know, I'm gonna make myself just a little bigger so y'all can see what I'm talking while I'm talking. But if you right click inside the file real quick, like right in these, so you right click here and you say inspect element. I hope y'all can see that. There you go, inspect element, you know, got all the other ones. What happens is your web browser, no matter if you're Safari, if you're Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, you're going to get these elements that open up on the side. And I know some of y'all be getting scared, and then y'all be like, I gotta get this thing off real quick. Don't be scared, man. It ain't doing nothing. But real quick, we just gonna take a look at this network tab, and I'm gonna clear the network tab. And so the network tab tells us all of the different requests that my browser is making. Remember, I told you it's on the client server model. So my browser is the client, and this network tab is telling me all the different requests that I'm sending out to the network, right? And so I want to request natebaker.me. I want the website natebaker.me. Let's see what type of requests are being sent when I click natebaker.me. Okay, cool. So we have natebaker.me. The first thing that I see here is natebaker.me, and it looks like an HTML file because of the way that it's structured like this. So let me go take a look at the headers. And so the header is just information. It's the information that we send. It's like, I want natebaker.me, and the server reads the header, and then it sends back, and then my client, my browser, it reads my header back. So basically the request, this is the request I sent. Remember when we was looking at that request model, let's take a look back when we had the request model right here. We was requesting stuff right there. You see, you can see right on here. I'm sending that request. You see that request object right there. That's literally what I was talking about when I say it's the request. It's the client server model. We're sending requests, and then we get a response back, which you can see right there as well. So in the request, I say get. Basically, this is the verb. I need you to go get me something. And what do I need you to get me? I need you to get me natebaker.me, and I want the path /. So / mean give me the home page, please. I just need the home page. And so everything go, it's a 304, which means it's okay. I mean, like, it was cached and whatnot. But basically 304, that is a good status on the server, and gives you all the information right here. So basically this is my HTML file that was downloaded from the server. What server was it on? It was on the Netlify server. Don't hack me. But you gotta hack Netlify in order to hack me, so not too hard, but or not too bad. So let's take a look at the preview. The preview is telling us like what came back. So what I'm actually gonna do is just actually copy this entire preview. This looks like HTML code to me. All these other files are some CSS code, some JavaScript. So we don't really care about that. But let's take a look at Visual Studio Code and take a look at this HTML file that I was telling y'all about. Let me open that all the way up. And let me save this like that. And let's take a look at this HTML file. Bang. So this is what came back from the Netlify server. When I requested gimme-natebaker.me, they sent me back this HTML file that my browser then showed this to me. Once it came back to me, my browser showed all of this to me, and it made sense. It literally took it took the time to make sense of this HTML. Obviously, when I'm in a coding text editor, it's not going to make sense of what this is because it's going to allow me to manipulate it and change it up. But here, this is a browser. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be grabbing HTML files once again right here, and then showing the beauty of that HTML file. So that's one of the cool things about like this client server model, is that they are actually sending you the code that the developer wrote, and that you can actually go and take that code and put it into an editor and look at the code yourself. It's actually dope as fuck. So and this gives you it gives you a way to practice, see what other companies are doing with their styles or in their elements. And then as you can see, you can also get the style sheet too. You see I got a style sheet here, and then you get the JavaScript. The JavaScript is minified. We'll get into that later on, but it's dope though. It's like honestly dope that you could get access to all of this. And so pretty much in this channel, you're going to be developing index.html files, and we're going to be requesting things from the server. We're going to put our index.html file on a server so that we can send out our links to other people so that they can go request our index.html files too. But you needed to know like what was happening on the web, like the requests and whatnot, in order to even get to going on an HTML file. Because once we get into HTML, you'll see that there's this block that says head, and in between the head there's a whole bunch of different data in it, and then there's a block that says body. And so you really and there's data between that too. And so you had to understand this client server model real quick, so that once we hop into all of that, it will make a lot of sense to you. But for now, you made it to client through client server. Remember, client is going to request the server is just going to send something back to the client. The client then requests something more, the server sends something more back. It's that simple, and that's it, the client server model. But you made it, congratulations. Next, we really is about to get on to HTML structure. Basically, like I told y'all, the body and the head and all of that. But like you always know, or like I said, HTML structure is what's coming up next. But like you always know, follow me on the gram, Street Coder Nate. You know, I try to post personal stuff, post inspirational stuff, post coding stuff. Just follow me, give me a like, take a step into a nigga life and see what it's like. It's real dope. Street Coder Nate is real dope. Basically, people ask me why I was doing this. I said because the whole time that I was coming through computer science, I had this inferior syndrome type of thing, imposter syndrome, where I felt like I wasn't supposed to be here in a way because I wasn't white, I had a hoodie on, I wasn't a nerd looking, geek. But I made Street Coders because I realized you don't have to be that. It's not what you look like on the outside. Martin Luther King been trying to tell us that for the longest. But it's not really what you look like on the outside. It's what you got up here. Or it's not what you look like on the outside. It's what you got up here. And shoot, be yourself and do your thing. So welcome to Street Coders. Give me a like, give me a follow. You're going to love this material. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments. And we back at it in the next video. So, peace. See y'all later. I'm out.